Davey, tell me about playoff percentages that you wrote about in Fangraphs, how they vary, what goes into them, and what has stood out to you at the recent look at who could, crack the playoffs that could surprise us, or who could miss out that could surprise us.
Right. Well, so I would start first with just how they work. I mean, the biggest thing is they take your record and then they look at your strength of schedule for the rest of the season, and then they look at your projections. So we're talking about how good the projections think your team is, and so based on all of that, they spit out a number, the percentage chance that you make the playoffs. So like the Dodgers are at the top with 99.6% chance because they're in first place and because they're the Dodgers with a really good team, and then there are plenty of teams at the bottom with zero. So the reason I wrote about it yesterday is that I was looking at the numbers and I realized that this is kind of the most stratified the numbers have been in a long time. Like in the National League, the Reds have a 13.6% chance of making the playoffs. And then above them today is the Mets at 89.1%. So they basically, the numbers think the National League is 100% settled right now. Obviously, I'm doing some rounding here, but I was looking at it, I was like, man, the numbers say this is the most boring postseason or stretch run since we've started keeping track of them.
Wow, that's crazy. So I will bring up what some will say, including Reds fans. Remember last year, the Detroit Tigers? What was their percentage chance of making the playoffs at this point?
0.2%. And you
Ooh.
can buy a T-shirt with the Fangraphs graph that goes down, 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 all the way up at the very end. And you could also look at the 2019 Indians Guardians to bring it close to home here. I'm sorry, who a week from this point in the season were at 96%, above 96%, and didn't make it. So it happens all the time. I think when you hear a number like this and you hear it's like a 90% chance, you think, well, that means it's a done deal. But what it means is 1 out of 10 times the opposite thing is going to happen.
Whoa, whoa, whoa! Was Kip on that team? And Kip, were you on that 2019 choke job team or what?
I thought we did make the playoffs.
This is just a percent, like everything has to go right or wrong for a team to make the playoffs. Because if you look at it right now, the Brewers are what, 99.1%. They have a nice, I
Mhm.
mean, a small lead on the Cubs. The Cubs are 96%. But like kind of what Scott said, the Reds team is looking at like, hey, we're hot right now. We're playing really well. We made some nice acquisitions. This is more like if something crazy doesn't happen, right? This is just more of like textbook. Things just continue as they've gone for the first 4.5 months.
Right. So you can in my article I kind of broke down the pros and the cons for the Reds. And like you're saying, there's a lot of pros here. Like they're gonna get Hunter Green back and they've got Ellie De La Cruz, who looks like he can just carry a team. And if the additions they made at the deadline work out, if Brian Hayes looks out at the short fence in Cincinnati and thinks, oh, maybe I should start lifting the ball a little to hit it over, like all of a sudden they're going to start rolling, and they could absolutely do it. But they also have, I think, the second toughest schedule the rest of the way, and they've had an easy schedule to this point. So some of the numbers that you're looking at may be a little rosier than the real picture says, and just the projections, like I mean, like what the Phillies and Mets did a lot, and the Padres a lot, and so all of a sudden these other teams added to and added more, and so it's just it's a tough road. So it's they're trying to factor in everything. Obviously, baseball is going to baseball. There's no way to predict everything, but it this year did stand out just because the numbers are so stratified.
Davey, who's your team?
I mean, I'm a Nationals guy first and foremost, so they've been at
Sorry.
zero for a long time now.
That's fine. I mean, I'm a White Sox guy. They were at zero before the year started. So I
Hmm.
get it. I get it. But they did win a World Series in 2019. My question is the
Hmm.
Yankees. Where were the Yankees at 6 weeks ago? And now where are they at? Because the American League has kind of shifted, right? The Yankees were dominating and we're like, oh, the Yankees are close to 90%, whatever they were. And now what's their number compared to with like the Mariners, the Rangers, all these teams that have kind of jumped in front of them?
Right. I would say the Yankees are one of those teams who have seemed to defy gravity. Right now they're at 78.8, which is down a little bit. They have been really struggling, but the numbers the projections are a big part of this, where they're looking at individual players and expecting them to contribute. And so if Aaron Judge comes back healthy, then all of a sudden that lineup is terrifying. If he doesn't, the projections can't really tell you that. So if Aaron Judge isn't there and hitting like Aaron Judge, then like throw this number in the garbage, basically. All of this stuff depends on health and luck and short sample sizes, all things that can go either way at the drop of a hat. So far the numbers have really liked the Yankees, but when we're watching it with our eyes, it looks a lot scarier.
Kratz, there are a lot of people out there that pay rent and they don't get anything for it.
Might as well change that. You can get some rewards for flights, hotels, tons of stuff.
With Built, you can earn flexible points that can be redeemed towards airlines, hotels, a future rent payment, your next Lyft ride, and much more. It doesn't stop there. Built is about making your entire neighborhood more rewarding. You can dine out at your favorite local restaurants and enjoy experiences just for Built members every month. They're turning a monthly expense into an opportunity to earn rewards and discover the best that your neighborhood has to offer. Your rent is finally working for you. Earn points on rent and around your neighborhood, wherever you call home, by going to joinbuilt.com/foul. That's joinbilt.com/FOUL. Make sure to use our URL so they know we sent you. joinbuilt.com/foul. Go for it. Let's transition over to the AL. What are you seeing from the playoff projection numbers there?
The Tigers still are in first. The Tigers look genuinely scary, and I think once you get into the playoffs, they look even more scary. With the way they rolled in the postseason last year, where just Scooble was unhittable, and they kind of scraped enough together. Their bullpen isn't looking quite as good, but I mean they're at 98% right now. They've pretty much got the Central locked up. And then below them, it's a little bit of a mix. The AL East is going to be a real battle, regardless of who ends up making the playoffs and doesn't. I think the AL East will be really fun. The Red Sox are on a run right now. The Blue Jays have been on a run, and the Yankees have the pieces where if they all put it together, those could be three really good teams down the stretch, and it should be really fun.
Kip, we got to ask about your boys because no one's talking about them, but they're actually only, what is it, a game and a half away from a playoff spot right now? I don't know if the projections love them, but you want to present your case?
It never loves them because it's not like there's never been, besides Jose, there's never been huge home run hitters that can really like switch it. That the statistical side, the analytical side loves to like kind of go off that.
And we should note that the projections tend to regress heavily on defense, which means when you're a good defensive club, they don't trust you as much because they sort of expect defense to balance out. And so for a team like the Guardians who have some premium defenders, like that is a reason to look at the numbers with a little more suspicion and a little more hope.
I appreciate you saying a nice thing about the Guardians there.
I love the Guardians. I end up writing about them all the time just because they always have fun people.
I'm trying to think of AJ. Would you? Actually, you might be the wrong person to ask this question.
What?
Because I was going to ask. Because I already know your answer. I think. Would you ever look at something like this and give it any stock if you were a player playing?
No, absolutely not. Actually, that's not right. Because I would be like, oh, we're only projected to win 72 games. Screw them. I'm gonna try and win 100 games and be like, yeah, Fangraphs, you don't know what you're talking about.
Fair enough. I like it though. No, every player's like, okay, well, good thing it's settled in between the white lines. Like it's fine. We got this then. So I think you're right. That's the best way to use it then. If it's not telling you're already in.
We've heard it brought up as bulletin board material before, Davey. I'm sure you know and can talk about it more.
Especially from the Guardians for this very reason that, like they've had a lot of premium defenders in the past. And so the numbers have not trusted them and they've just gone on some really fun, improbable runs. So yeah, I mean, I think if you're a player, I can't imagine looking at this for anything other than, bulletin board material.
Yeah. I don't know if you're talking about me with premium defenders in the past. Maybe my other guys in the infield, I thought, but
you had the pop. The projections love pop.
Thank
man.
Thank you.
Andres Jimenez had the glove there recently for Cleveland.
He's nasty.
Yeah, he was. He was probably the best defensive second baseman for a year or two there. My question to you, Davey, is where do you think it's wrong, right? Where are you looking where either other numbers that you like tell you otherwise or just the eye test tells you otherwise? And I'll stay on American League because like you said, I'm with you. It's going to be hard to convince anyone that there's a better top six and they've got like this real clean cut top six in the National League, but it's not quite the case in the AL. So how do you see the AL playing out these next couple months?
Right. I mean, the big thing is is the Rangers. Like right now, they're at 40%, and so that's a decent chance. But they'd have to dethrone either, like the Mariners, the Astros, the Red Sox, the Yankees. There are a lot of teams in the mix here, and I think the Rangers just look really dangerous right now. They have so many hitters who could get into shape, and so many pitchers who could really put together dominant stretches, like you saw Evaldi last night, just completely shoving. I think the Rangers could really not only like close strong, but like look like a team that nobody wants to face.
Would you want to face Evaldi and DeGrom in the postseason if you had to go 1-2 in a short series, in a 3-game series, and your first two starters you get are DeGrom and Evaldi? That would sounds like it wouldn't be a lot of fun. Davey, I know you're a Nats fan, so you get the Strasburg Scherzer comparisons there, right?
Absolutely. Yeah, I mean, I don't think anybody wants to face DeGrom ever.